Hi everybody, so Mortal Kombat 1's gameplay looked absolutely great, and what I'm going to be doing in today's video is going to be breaking down all the small little things that I noticed about the trailer that you may not have noticed. If you guys are as excited as I am for Mortal Kombat 1, make sure you drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and also join my Discord, join the discussion, tell me what you guys think, and be a part of my community. It's a great way to get involved and I would love to see you there. Not going to waste too much time, so let's get right into the video. Right off the bat, we see a point in the story mode where Raiden and Kung Lao are being ambushed by Scorpion and Sub-Zero. We later find out that this seems to be some sort of test by Liu Kang. And as you can see, Kung Lao does not have a hat in this scene or gameplay, and the hat that he does throw is non-lethal. So at this point in the story, he doesn't have his Razor hat, but he does throw a chakram, which we see cut Sub-Zero in the cutscene, but we never see him use this in gameplay. But what I'm thinking is that he actually does use the chakram in gameplay only when you're using this skin that doesn't have a hat. So the chakram replaces his hat moves in gameplay, which is a very nice innovative detail because that can open up a lot of possibilities with different types of skins. Also, in the background of the stage, you can see a wanted poster of Su Hao, a picture of the two Kanos from MK11 story mode, and a picture of Scorpion from MK11 story mode. Now, during this whole ambush scene at the beginning of the trailer, you can see Lin Kuei NPCs in the background, and they look a lot more ninja-like than they do assassin-like. Now, remember, the Lin Kuei are in China, and there are no ninjas in China. There are assassins in China. But in Japan, there are ninjas. And that's how it's always been in Mortal Kombat. The Shirai Ryu were ninjas and the Lin Kuei were assassins. But the Lin Kuei look more ninja-like. So I'm thinking that in this timeline, the Lin Kuei are from Japan and not from China. Now, I could be entirely wrong, but that's just a theory that I have. We then move on to Kenshi, who is on his way to try to get Sento from Johnny Cage, which Johnny Cage currently possesses in his house, or I should say penthouse, and he looks super freaking cool in this part of the story mode. He looks like a Yakuza member, and I never thought I would like it this much to have this kind of character direction for Kenshi. And at this point in the trailer, we see our first look at Fatal Blows. Now, yes, Fatal Blows are back. Later on during the Summer Game Fest showcase when Ed Boon was presenting a demo, it was a blink and you miss it moment, but you can see that Fatal Blows are right there at the meter. So once you get to a certain health point, you have a Fatal Blow available to you. And I'm not sure how I really feel about it because Fatal Blows were one of the worst things about Mortal Kombat 11. The Fatal Blow startup animation is in the same style as Injustice. And also, you have dual Fatal Blows with your cameos, which is really, really cool. I really like how much Cameo Fighters seem to be pretty much involved in the fight in every single way a main fighter would as well. Now, during this Johnny Cage throw animation, the Johnny Cage shadow effect seems normal. This could be a part in the story mode where he hasn't discovered his powers yet. So when you're using this skin, he has a white after effect on all of his would-be green shadow effect moves, which is, again, another really nice detail. We later see that Kenshi has lost this fight in the story mode and he's all tied up in the cutscene, and maybe this is how he gets blinded in this new timeline, although I doubt it because we later on see him not being blinded when he's training with Raiden. But I don't know, just throwing that possibility out there. Remember, new timeline, different origin stories. That's a big thing about this game. Now, when we move on to the Liu Kang versus Scorpion gameplay part, we can see that when Scorpion uses his get over here spear, he doesn't need meter to stun the opponent, which is how it has always worked throughout history of Mortal Kombat. But in Mortal Kombat 11, you did need to use meter to stun your opponent, which a lot of people didn't like, and it looks like that is not going to be the case anymore, which is a good thing. We also see that Scorpion uses a Kusari Gamma as a secondary weapon, which is a very cool, interesting choice. Even now in 2023, they're finding new ways to make Scorpion feel fresh in gameplay. Now, during the cutscene where Raiden and Kenshi are training with each other, the stage that they're at is actually the Wuxi Academy stage from Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. This is one of my favorite stages that I've been dying to have come back, and I'm so happy to have it back. It's not taking place on the same platform, but it's essentially what it is. And this stage just looks absolutely fucking gorgeous. Another nice little detail is that Raiden throws out a lightning ball, but it's a very tiny lightning ball. And I think this was an intentional detail from the developers to just further convey the fact that this is a young and inexperienced or up-and-coming Raiden. Another thing that I noticed about Raiden is that he does have his torpedo move back, but when he does it in the air, he goes downward. Now, either this means that we're going to have a directional input to where you can go downward with the torpedo or upward with the torpedo, or maybe this is just the animation that happens when you do the torpedo move in the air. I'm more thinking that this is just the air animation version of it, but who knows, just putting the possibility out there as well. To move over on the topic of Cameo Fighters, it does look like there will be alternate skins for Cameo Fighters. Just a frame before we see the clash animation between Kitana and Mileena, you can see MK3 Sonya, but we previously saw her in an MK1 costume. So this pretty much confirms that Cameo Fighters are going to have customizable skins, much like how your main fighter would have a customizable skin. And speaking of the clash animation between Kitana and Mileena, that is also an animation that you would see in the Injustice franchise. Now these aren't wagers, this just happens at the select screen right before you get into the match. And this is where you get your intro dialogues. Now, there's a few things that I want to point out here in the Mileena versus Kitana fight. First, we see Goro as a cameo fighter, and I gotta say, I really do not like the way Goro looks. His armor and him wearing pants just looks really bad, and he's way too short. But he does have an original design, whereas the other cameo fighters that we've seen have retro designs. So I'm thinking that Goro is actually going to be on the main roster and not just a cameo fighter. We also learned that Mileena is the Empress or the Queen of either Edenia or a very pretty looking Outworld. Now, I'm really confused as to which one we're actually going to be getting, because this stage right here just looks like Edenia. However, we later on see a living forest, but a very pretty looking forest. It's very bright, it's colorful, there's flowers, and the trees are asleep. And remember, the living forest takes place in Outworld. And then we later on see the festival stage with all the fireworks. There is a big palace in the background, but the whole entire sky is purple like Outworld, which I really like, because if this is Outworld, then we have purple Outworld back. But this could be just Edenia, or maybe it's a very pretty looking Outworld. So I'm thinking that it could be Outworld, but a lot of the Edenian merged elements are very much present a lot more this time around, now that Mileena is queen or empress and Kitana has a lot of influence on the throne. Another nice little detail I like about the Kung Lao cameo fighter is that his spin move effect is the same of how it was in the original arcade days. And also, you have cameo throw animations, so your main fighter uses the throw, but your cameo fighter comes in and does the throw animation. Because as we see, Striker is a cameo fighter, which is super hype to me, especially since he's wearing his retro costume from MK3. Just some small thing that I thought was really neat is that Liu Kang's low fireball bounces on the stage. It just looks like a really nice animation. I don't know, I just wanted to point that out. Now, lastly, when we have all the fatalities being shown, a lot of people were saying that they have dual fatalities with your cameo fighters. I don't think we're actually getting that. I think what we're actually going to be getting is that you can choose to have your cameo fighter be the one to do the fatality, or your main fighter do the fatality, because you never see at any point in the trailer having both characters involved in the fatality. There is both characters involved in the victory animation, which is really neat, but not both characters involved in actually killing your opponent. Still, this isn't a complaint or anything, don't get me wrong. It still makes for a very innovative experience with the cameo fighters, and it further drives the point that your cameo fighter is almost just as important as your main character. Also, I want you guys to pay close attention to this. So, when the fatalities are happening, the finish him voice line that we hear is not the same as the announcer that we later on hear during the gameplay demo that Ed Boon was presenting at the event. I want you to listen very closely to the finish him line and the way the announcer sounds during the gameplay demo. Now, again, I need you guys to pay attention to this one because Ed Boon and Jeff Keighley are talking over the gameplay demo, so you can't really hear the announcer, but you can still hear it. Take a listen.
Just all the characters can be combined with all the Cameo Fighters.
So I am actually thinking that the person who says finish him is Onaga, because this sounds like an Onaga voice. Again, this is not the same as the announcer. So maybe that was taken from a story mode cutscene, or maybe we get an Onaga voice announcer, much like how there was customizable announcers in Mortal Kombat 11. Either way, I am thinking more and more that Onaga is actually going to show up in MK1, and they're just saving him and keeping him a secret. Okay guys, I'm adding this after the fact because I completely forgot to put it in the video, so I'm doing this as I'm editing it. I completely forgot the fact that we see aerial combat in these combos, and the combos in general are long, like how they are in Mortal Kombat X. They look very fluid, they look very nice and swaggy, and this is exactly what we have been wanting back in a Mortal Kombat game, because, well, it's not Mortal Kombat without swaggy long combos. But yeah, guys, those are some of the biggest things that I noticed about the Mortal Kombat 1 gameplay debut trailer. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that I missed, and if there was a significant amount of things that I missed, I will definitely do a follow-up video for that. The next video I'm going to be doing is sharing my overall thoughts on the gameplay, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a big thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss content from me. I will see you all in the next video.